Welcome to the Agile Localization Podcast by Crowden, where we unpack the strategies and solutions that make localization fast, scalable, and efficient. I'm your host, Stefan Huyghe. Good morning from not so sunny Texas. Actually, it's raining here this morning. We are interviewing a very, very special guest and good friend of mine today for the Agile Localization Podcast by Crowden. He keeps his beard a lot shorter than mine nowadays. When he's not managing an AI localization juggernaut, he is sailing the oceans around the world. People that work on his Pi campus in Rome routinely get to take a break to go swim in the company's pool. And he generally employs some of the nicest and most knowledgeable people in the localization industry. His company puts out the Eminent Report every year and keeps everybody informed in the language industry that way. He is often called the most interesting man in localization. The great Marco Trombetti is with me. Marco, did I forget anything in my introduction?
No, nothing. Or maybe just that I truly love this industry.
Awesome. And we love you. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's talk and dive in right away. You're known for building AI solutions, but translated motto is "We believe in humans." How do you keep those two ideas and models working together?
Well, I think they're very, very connected because the way we started at Translate in 99 was always working on how to create a perfect symbiosis between human and machines. Now, in 2000, everybody was already thinking, let's create a translation technology that replaces humans. It was very crystal clear in our head that translation is the most human thing we have, the best manifestation of human intelligence. And so the only thing we could do is try to create a system that could help a professional translator doing a better translation. So you do one first layer. What is the layer that you can create that minimize the effort to create great quality and great speed? And so that's 25 years of research only on human-computer interaction in language translation. That's truly what we do. And as we're moving forward doing that, the more we do it, the more we do believe in humans, the more we love humans, we understand the nuances and the beauty of our brain, the limits of the machines. And obviously we want to pass those limits. We want to invent stuff, but that combination of human and machine is exposing us to the problems of machine and again, telling us how much the human is beautiful. And that we believe in humans that you see around, especially printed on the side of our boat, is really a dedication, is the glorification of all the humans that are taking challenges that are a little bigger than what they think is possible. And that is the human spirits we like, is the one that, you never stop, you never give up, you see a limit and you want to go a little higher than that. And that spirit is what we celebrate. And so that's the true, we believe in humans, that's what it means. Because if there is that, there is progress and there is a better future.
That's awesome. You started in machine translation with MakeCat in 2012, which featured the first version of adaptive MT, and then you built modern MT, the first commercial application of transformers, and the technology now used by ChatGPT, I should say, and the leading LLMs. And recently you released Lara, a model explicitly trained on professional translation data with the ability to explain its translation choices. How does this specialized approach better address what enterprise customers actually need today? And where do you see it giving your company a long-term competitive advantage?
Okay, when you work every day on the problem, you see this is like a smooth transition, okay? And you were very good at identifying the key moments, but really, for me, it's like every day is a small improvement and continuous small improvement. So I think what recently happened is that a great opportunity. I think that for many, many years, we had compromise. If you want an accurate translation, then it's not fluent at all. It's very rigid. Okay, so you get this awkward structure to try to have the terms translated correctly. And this is mostly comes from the approach of machine translation, the technique they use. On the other side, then there was language models. They come out and they give a much bigger weight to the language model part, which means let's see what is probable in the language, not what is correct, what is more probable. That's the language model approach. And so I think we saw this opportunity saying language models are making a lot of hallucinations that are unacceptable in the translation field. Machine translation is too rigid, is not fluent. Let's mix the two. And so we created this new architecture with Lara. We're combining the accuracy and low hallucination of it and controllability of a machine translation solution with the fluency of the language model. That was the idea, was making a progress in that direction so we can create translations that are more natural, more human, and also for our translators easier to edit because they don't have to change the full structure to change the meaning.
Yeah. What makes Lara fundamentally different and better than other engines, you think?
Yeah, so I think there's many things. And the first is designed for localization for professional translation. What it means is that we don't use the web to train the model. We used 15 years of interaction data coming from the translators. And so we provided made cat free open source in everyone. And in exchange, we received feedback where the AI was wrong. And so we have the top translators in the world working on the best projects that are telling us, hey, this is not working as I would like. And so we use that data to tell the machine not only how to do stuff, but also what is wrong. Because we are keeping the two examples. What the machine suggested that was wrong and what was correct, fixed by the human. Not only that, very often we have a comment and we have a discussion between the translator and the revisor discussing what is the right way. Hey, why you didn't apply this third? Say, no, the style guide in this context said I should do this other thing. These are called a chain of thought, which is the novel technique in which you train language models. Basically, you teach the machine to reason, the reasoning model you see all around, and we took a reasoning approach expressly designed for the translation. So it's unique data of high quality data plus the reasoning model all designed around localization needs.
Yeah. So much in our industry is talked about nowadays, how to find the right balance between automation and human input. And many people wonder about the position of the translators, the human translators in that. What are some examples where a human in the loop approach outperform the pure AI or pure human workflows? Why do you think it's such a good approach?
Well, first, it depends what you need to do. I think that as a general rule, we should invest in translation a comparable amount of how much we invested in creating the original content. So if you're translating a review on an e-commerce customer review and the user wrote it so quickly that as typos, grammar errors, etc. But this is not a truly valuable content. I think that pure machine translation there is the only solution. And even machine translation sometimes is even better than the quality of the original. So you need to provide actually something which is in line. And if you do a pure great human translation with a copywriter, the review will look so good that people will not buy the product. Over quality, delivering higher quality than need, not always give you a best result. Because people will say, this review is fake, it's not real. This is not real. People don't write this way. So, every content, you have a perfect translation process, which is similar to the investment you did originally. If you want to translate, just do it. The Nike slogan. And it's way better that you don't even start with machine translation. There's no reason, because you're doing so many focus group and trying to understand in every culture what that means, all the research, the positioning, how you get into the market, and then the best copywriter in the world to try to decide how to translate it. And so it's like it's so different that you need very different processes for each one of these content. And before, in the industry, it was kind of flat. There was content they would simply not translate because it's too expensive or slow, and then content where you do professional translation. You know, our industry is evolving into a continuous form, continuous quality level where you can go from pure MT to the best advertising translated and adapted to the culture. And I think this is why AI plus human is unbeatable, because it can really match exactly the level you want. You can decide how much effort to put and what process to put. And that is why this is very different. We can no longer stay with two systems, MT and human translation. We're building that continuous flow. And I think through this integration, we're also allowing people to build and deliver those services.
Yeah. With these workflows that are evolving, I assume that the costs and the paying models are changing a little bit as well. While automation reduces costs, it also risks devaluing the quality and human expertise. How are you evolving your service model to maintain value while embracing this automation?
Well, if you think from a translated side, so that's let me be let me say something that will scare people, and then we say why is that is good. The average quality that people are asking is decreasing. So quality is going down. So people may say, oh, then people are not attentive. They're not paying attention to quality as they were in the past. That's absolutely wrong. The reason why the average quality goes down is just because we are translating hundreds, 1,000 times more content that before we were not translating. You know, take an e-commerce or a travel website. Before, reviews, listings, all the messages between the users, these were things that we were not translating at all because it was costing billions and hundreds of years to do it. Now we do it. So, and that is done to a machine. And while we're doing that, they're increasing their visibility in the international market, they're getting more orders, and they want the UI to be even better, curated to the level that was not possible in the past. So really what I see, that quality of the standard localization process is going up, and that there is a big amount, 1,000 times more content that it was not translated before that is coming. So if you look at the average, the perception, it may be that the average quality is lower, but we're translating 1,000 times more. And the quality of the localization processes, our customers, they're demanding higher quality. And they do it because as soon as you get more efficiency, as soon as you can translate faster, these businesses want to make more money. And so if you have a more efficient process and you are getting into more market, that money you want to invest in delivering higher quality, and so that your conversion rates are higher. So efficiency typically brings more business opportunity. Now, the problem is that if you don't have the full stack and you're not able to deliver also on the AI part, then you're not capturing the full value of the market. And then you're perceiving that you're losing market shares, you're doing certain things, and things are not going well. But if you look at more broader, that's what I'm seeing. Higher quality and more content.
All languages are not created equally in AI for the moment. There's been a lot of talk about what to do with the lesser spoken languages. AI systems don't always treat all languages equally. Some talk about small language models has been uttered in that regard as well. How are you ensuring inclusivity and quality across all languages as you scale with these new technologies? What's your approach to that?
Again, welcome to the humans. The humans are the solution. So Swahili was making this calculation. We're producing a certain amount of Swahili human translation every year. And I asked myself, when, with this rate, we're going to have the same data we have for English and French today? 500 years. That's the amount of time it takes to Swahili to have the same quality. Now, if you needed all the data. So behind on certain languages, we're absolutely behind. And now you manage to reduce the gap. Is that because you add more human translation on top of it? And the more human translation you add on top of it to level it, the more you're generating your data so that this improves. Okay, and so we can keep Swahili as competitive in the market and spread and use it. So really, human translators are leveling up and allowing corporation to have the same experience in every country to every user they have, and so that some people in a rare language would not feel that they're treated not as well as the others. And so your brand is preserved. You are in the country with full power, and people love your brand.
Yeah, that's our task in localization for sure. Let's talk about the tech stack for a moment. There's a lot of changes the way tech stacks have been implemented in the last couple of years. There's a lot of middleware that is being used right now and are making things easier for people to connect stuff. Crowden, in particular, is very active in that field as well. What kind of technical integration do your enterprises clients expect now from a modern LSP, and how do you handle that at Translated?
There is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is that before, people were creating content. The content creation was happening in few platforms. If you think there was people writing in Word, people writing in Adobe, it was Quark Express or InDesign for desktop publishing. And
I
then
remember
someone
the
was
Quark days very well. That dates us both there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
and PageMaker.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the end, the process was relatively easy. You had a certain input formats, and then everybody was copying and pasting to the final thing, etc., or they were producing the content directly there. There was a very limited amount of input tools. Now, the fact that we have a service, a subscription for everything, for every department in the company, there is multiple places where content get created. And from the support system, the CMS, the GitHub repository for the developers, but also the PowerPoints, the presentations, and all the desktop publishing material in different forms, and the web tools for creating different content, Canva, and so really, if you get into an enterprise today, you will find 150 point of access, touch point for where people create content. And so now integrations are becoming key because you need to manage the complexity. You need to connect to all the sources, normalize those sources in terms of content, encodings, and then you have to process those to translation in a way that you can reuse the content across all these different integrations and deliver back the content in the native format so that can be published in that platform with zero effort. And so the integration effort is now duplicated. It's 10 times more.
Platforms integrate human interaction and translators. One of the challenges that I've noticed in this current environment is that it's not always that easy to make the traditional translators change their stripes and teach them how to really leverage the new capabilities of agentic AI in particular. and there's maybe a little barrier to entry for the more traditional linguists in that regard. How can platforms like Crowd help companies integrate human AI collaboration more seamlessly, you think, into their localization pipelines? And what's your approach at Translator to educate translators and get them more on board with technology?
Platforms like Crowdin are absolutely necessary. They're becoming every day more necessary to manage the complexity. And so you're doing a great work to normalize that for everyone. Okay. And and it's also good that there is platform to do that. Are independent, that can do this work, because otherwise having everyone to redo the work will be a waste of human resources of that should be used for that stuff. So that's why it's extremely important. Now, regarding the translators, well, I think that they're pretty quick in deciding and switch from one tool to another. I think the only two things that they need is one, job opportunities. They will move to a platform that allows them to get more work. Okay. And second is about the quality of the work. Because very often, if there is too much complication, too many interfaces, too many ways of doing content, they're not productive. And so tools like Crowdin and so the others, creates an environment also that have all the features that a translator will need to be productive. And so that is what happens. And if you make people productive and they love working in the platform because they feel that their time is well used and there is job opportunities, well, every good translator will jump into the new platform. So I don't see problem in convincing translators as soon as we do these two things.
Yeah. Do you agree that the language industry has a really special opportunity to contribute to the perfection and the training of large language models with the existing language assets that we have? It seems to me that although large language models can handle unstructured data, for training in particular, having structured data to leverage is a real advantage. And things like translation memories and glossaries, assets that we've built up for decades in the translation industry, seem to be a really interesting avenue to explore to make the large language models more intelligent and change them in a better way. What's your opinion about that? Do you see an opportunity for the language industry to move in that direction?
I see a lot of opportunities. Also, it would be very strange if there is not an opportunity, and these are called language models. No, if we're linguists and we cannot
That's
contribute
well
to that,
said.
it would be strange.
Touche.
But yeah, but let me say, so we are in the infancy of language models, where we're taking the data from the web and organizing this. About 1% of the day of the web, 15 trillion tokens, and is the one that is considered the higher quality of data. But every single language model out there is trained with 95% of English data and then 5% every other language. So they're not representative of the cultures of the world. They're not representative of the languages of the world. And they don't think in the way the local people think. They always think in one way, which is mostly the US thinking way, very pragmatic. For example, if a language model was an Italian language model, then it was, you know, talking more, less pragmatic, and taking care of aesthetics more. That's so the big opportunity today is that now we have delivered those language models with the past data. Now it's time to bring multicultural, multilingual, and multimodal into the system. So multicultural and multilingual, the translation industry is the perfect place to get it. There's no other industry that has got people in the country that master the language and master the local culture. That's our work, and we do it better than anyone. There's no company like Scale AI that can ever even close to try to achieve this. They started using people in the Philippines because they were speaking English, and they don't scale well on culture and language. So our industry can provide an incredible service. Now, if you think about multimodal, we have to adapt a little bit because now the machines are learning faster through audio and video a lot. And so we need to adapt our way of working to manage those kind of content. The industry, the translation industry, is really text-based. And so that is something we need to learn to do. So first step, we have it better than anyone else. Nobody can beat us. Second level, we need to adapt a little bit to capture multimodal. And then, but also we have to consider one fact over the long term. So is this going to be a 20 years market, etc.? I'm not sure. Why? Because the value of past data is becoming less interesting. The machine, yes, can learn from human past data that we produce it, but they can get only up to the point. The maximum a machine can get with past data is basic collective intelligence. We can create a machine that is as good as the collective intelligence of human beings. But if in certain field you want to pass that intelligence, then we need new learning methods. And that's, by the way, what we're working on Translated, on the DOOPS project. So we need to create the next level of data. As we created this past data with MateCat, document level, big context, premium data, now the new data is about interaction. The machine is getting good at doing tasks, and so machine should learn from experience. As the machine is trying to do something, it will receive a feedback if it achieved or not the goal. And we don't need the human feedback. So it's not reinforcement learning through human feedback. If I ask a machine to buy a plane ticket, the machine knows if she was able to achieve the goal or not. We can provide a feedback to say if we like how much we like the ticket we got, but the machine is able to understand if it's achieving the goal as we humans do in our life. So this is the new data, and that data comes from interaction. And the only way to capture that future opportunity is not by providing a solution, is by building those models that people use while doing and asking those interaction. And then you basically collect this data, you manage the data, you clean this data, and this data helps improve the model more and more and more. So it's 3 stages. One, which was absolutely ready, we're the best people in the world to achieve that. Multi-language, multicultural. Then in multimodal, we will need to work a little bit. And then in the long term, we need completely to rethink, because past data are no longer relevant. Machine will learn by interacting with the world.
Yeah, you're kind of outlining a little bit of a blueprint for LSP to adapt. And that was going to be my next question. Looking into the future, many LSPs are struggling to reposition themselves in the face of AI disruption. What guiding principles are helping companies redefine their core business for the future? And what's your advice for LSPs of all sizes to adjust to this new technological landscape?
Is exactly how we started this podcast. Believe in humans. Believe in humans, in those that are taking on challenges that are a little bigger of what they think is possible. This is absolutely not the time to give up. This is the time to double down. And I'm not sure everyone will be brave to double down, will have the courage, the time, the energy to do it. But 100% sure that those that will double down now will have an incredible future in the future. Ahead.
Well said. I have 2 more questions. I want to explore the future of AI in the language industry with you a little bit further, and then we're going to end up on a crowded question. So the first one is, as translated, explores multimodal, and you touched upon it a little bit already through your DVPS project. How do you see this next wave of AI innovation transforming the language industry? What does the future look like, and in translated in particular?
Yes, what I said is exactly what we're going to do. So it would be very strange if what I do for myself will be different than the advice I give to other people. You will think that the advice is fake. So we're doubling down, we're investing a lot, we're raising a lot of research, money for research, for compute, and for inventing the next level of interaction. And we're going to deliver the services that I mentioned. And we will also partner with everyone in the industry that feels scared and doesn't know what's next. If they want to come with us, we'll go together.
Yeah, we've certainly enjoyed your partnership very, very much. And I'm going to end with a question that I ask almost all my guests that come on the podcast. What do you think makes Crowden so special? What's the thing that makes you go, those are neat guys to work with? That's our type of company to partner with.
Yeah, that is the easiest question of the podcast.
Okay.
Because it was
That's
crystal
good.
clear.
I'm happy.
Crystal clear. You know, I tell you what happened. So we started this integration. I think Alessia Redoni was working on this relationship between us, and she came to me, with a list of features that we have, and we have a basic integration, advanced integration level. Okay, and she came to me, and I saw that Crowden did all the basic integration stuff and 2 out of 5 of the advanced integration features. And I said, yeah, so I got my thing, and I was preparing my podcast to explain what we do together, etc. And then today she came to me with the updated version. Okay, and now everything is done up to the advanced one. And so really, I think that the thing that makes Crowden different from everything else is the speed, is how you move fast, and you find something that doesn't work, you fix it, you find an opportunity, someone tells you, hey, this thing is missing. And if it's a valid idea, boom, it's done. And so super impressed that last week we're in basic, and now the time just to organize and schedule the podcast, you have an advanced integration with Lara.
Yeah, it's very good to hear, and that's my impression as well. That's why I find it so pleasurable to work with our team at Crowden. They're really they keep their ear to what needs to be happening. Marco, we've already come to the end of this Agile Localization podcast. I can't believe it. Thank you so very much for spending some time with us and making some time in your busy schedule. I have to tell you, one of the fondest memories in Europe I have is visiting your campus a couple of years ago in Rome. You were always super hospitable, and you spent a lot of time with me that day, although we only had an hour scheduled. Thank you so very much for coming on, and I look forward to the next time we talk together already. Have a wonderful afternoon in Rome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, that's a wrap on today's episode of the Agile Localization Podcast by Crowden. We hope you found it as insightful as we did. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to learn more about how leading companies are managing their multilingual content efficiently, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. Thank you for tuning in. For more resources on how to streamline your localization process, visit Crowden.com. See you next time.